Here's how many links I need, here's my time frame I'm setting for myself to get those links, and you basically build those links out consistently over, say, a 6 to 12 month time period. If you've been around SEO for a while, you would have noticed that link building is a fairly controversial topic. Some people believe that is extremely important, and other people believe that if you just create great content, you will magically begin to rank. You don't need to do any link building whatsoever, and those people are very much wrong. But in this video, I want to walk you through some advice on how you can approach link building and get started with it as an absolute beginner. Now, starting with the absolute basics, what are backlinks and what is link building? Well, backlinks are where other websites link to yours. It's very simple. And this is effective because it actually comes all the way back from scientific papers. And when you reference a scientific paper, the more times that scientific paper is referenced or mentioned, the more likely it is to be a good quality paper. But the same thing applies to websites. The more links a website has, the better it is likely to be, because all these different websites are vouching for it and saying, hey, this is a great website, this is a great piece of content. So it essentially acts as votes for your website. The more people are voting for it, the better it will be. But there's other elements that go into this also, which comes down to quality. It's not only quantity, it is also quality. For example, if another website that is equally very, very well trusted links to your website, that accounts for a lot more than a brand new website. And this just kind of combats spam essentially, where if I went out there and bought like 500 different domains that are brand new and linked to my website, well, that is very artificial and they're all very low quality sites, so it doesn't count as much because the quality aspect, not just quantity. Now that's a very dumbed down, simple version of it, but that's essentially how that works. And link building is the act of going out there and deliberately acquiring links. You can do this via grey hat strategies of building your own websites, what we call a PBN, a private block network. Or you can do this via outreach, where you reach out to other websites and encourage them to link to your website, whether that's via offering them money, whether that's via offering them some other types of incentive, or whether that's simply by having incredible content. And the third approach to link building is a little bit less intentional, which is just about creating great content and marketing that content, not necessarily to get links, just to promote the content. And as a result of people knowing about this content and as a result of it being incredible content, then people will probably link to it. It's less intentional, it's not what most people do, but it can work also. Now, when you get into the nitty gritty details of link building, there is a lot of elements that go into it. The first element will be the type of link that you acquire. So you'll see SEOs mention that they're building a guest post or a link insertion or a PBN link or a broken link or any of these different types of links. There are so many out there. Well, this is just the type of link that they're building. Now, there's many types of links you can build, but here's a few off the top of my head that will come up often. Number one is going to be guest posts, which is where you reach out to another website and you offer to create a piece of content for them, and within that content, you include a link to your website. You also have author links, where you write that guest post and you don't include a link within the content, but in the author bio box at the bottom, you include a link there. It's less effective, but it's also a link building strategy. You also have link insertions. Link insertions are where rather than you writing that content for another website, you just reach out to them and say, hey, I noticed you have this awesome piece of content. I'd love if you can include a link to my website from this. This can be incentivized with money or just by having amazing content by using a strategy like the skyscraper technique. You also have PBN links, as mentioned before, where you create your own websites to artificially build links. It is a little bit spammy, but that works also. You also have lower quality links that people usually use for diversification or other methods such as blog comments, which aren't great. You have directory submissions, which are usually used for local businesses. You can also have press releases and Web 2.0 links by signing up to websites like Weebly and Wix and so on, and all types of links really. You don't need to necessarily know all of them, but I just wanted to give you an introduction so you can see there are very many different types of links. Beyond that, you have the target URL, which is where the link points to. The page with the most links on your website will usually be the homepage that probably has the majority of links overall to your site are going to be at that homepage. And then other pages will also have links as well. Usually you want to link to the page you actually intend on ranking, but taking into account that it needs to be natural and needs to have the homepage with most of the links. Again, in most cases to simplify this altogether. The second thing is the anchor text, which is the text of the link, which is another ranking factor. And one great thing you can do here is you can include the keyword in the anchor text. So if you're trying to rank for the term leather sofas, then the anchor text can actually say leather sofas, or if the specific term is buy leather sofas, the anchor text can actually say buy leather sofas. Now you need to be very careful not to over-optimize this, and there's a whole strategy for doing this, which we'll dive into. But that is a base introduction to it, which is a huge ranking factor, and you can include keywords in here to increase relevancy and help you rank for those keywords. Now on top of this, you can also add attributes to that link, for example, no follow, or you can mention that sponsored or anything like that to essentially not pass any benefit through to that link, or at least recommend that Google don't do so. This is something you want to consider if you're acquiring or purchasing links, because if you go through all that effort to acquire a link and then it's no followed, well, you're not really getting much, if any, benefit from that link. Another factor that's becoming more and more important today is the relevancy of the page that the link is placed on. For example, if your link is placed on a page that is about plumbing companies in London and you're a plumber in London, that is a great link from a relevancy standpoint because it's highly relevant. Whereas if that link is on a page about web design for whatever reason, well, it's not as relevant of a link. Does that mean it's worthless? Absolutely not. But relevancy is also a factor to take into consideration. So some of your links will be highly relevant, some of them will be a little bit relevant, and others will be just not relevant whatsoever. But take that in consideration when you're building these links, and preferably the more relevant, the better. And then finally, there is the quality of the website that's linking to you. Now, in most cases, we're going to use a metric called DR, which is domain rating from Ahrefs. And domain rating is a score from 0 to 100, and it measures the strength of that domain, essentially, put it into very simple terms. So if you have a link from a DR45 website, that is a pretty good link, versus if you have a link from a DR7 website, that is a pretty bad link. Now that is heavily simplified there, but when I'm doing link building for my own websites, I'm looking for websites that are at least DR30 plus at a minimum. I'm looking for websites that of course do follow links. That's a very, very important factor. And I'm looking for sites that have traffic, as in real traffic from Google themselves. So Google search traffic, at least 1,000 visits a month, just because then Google trusts that website. If you have no traffic, then even if their DR is high, Google obviously don't trust the website, so it's more likely to be manipulated, something like that, because these metrics can be manipulated. Now, before we get into the actual strategy of link building, it's important to understand where links come from. If you think about this from Google's perspective, they don't want you to buy links. They don't want you to build links because that allows you to control your rankings to a degree, at least. It's a lot more complex than that. So they want you to naturally acquire links, meaning that you create this amazing piece of content, you put this content out there, you promote it, whatever, and then people like this content so much they decide to link to it. You don't ask people to link to it, you don't incentivize people to link to it, you don't pay people, you definitely don't build links yourself. You just create amazing content and people will link to that, and then that is a ranking factor and help you increase your rankings. So that's what Google are hoping for, and if you do the opposite of that and you buy or build links, then you're going against Google's webmaster terms, which is fine, but just understand that they may not like you for doing that. So the best way of doing that, if you want to do this as a strategy, is to kind of hide in plain sight by looking at what would happen if you naturally acquired links the way Google wants you to do it and then did that as a strategy. For example, if you have zero traffic on your website, nobody's ever visited your website before, and suddenly you acquire a ton of new links, that is not natural, because the natural thing would be people would visit your website, they would like your website, they would share your website, and then they would link to your website. Likewise, if nobody's ever shared your website on like Facebook or Twitter or any social media before, and you have 100 links, that is super unnatural, because more people have a Facebook profile and a Twitter profile and social media profiles than they do have a website that they can decide to link to you from. So make sure that you have traffic on your website and make sure that you have social signals. Now you can manipulate all of this. Firstly, you will have traffic anyway for lower competition keywords simply by having a decent amount of content. So start first with publishing all of your content. And secondly, when it comes to social signals, for established and existing businesses, you should have this by default anyway. If it's a new website, you can simply buy social signals from a vendor like SEO Butler. It's very, very cheap. Now moving on to the actual strategy, the first question people ask is, how many links do I need to build? And the answer is, it depends. It depends on your competition and the specific keyword that you're going after. For example, if you look up your keyword and the average competitor on the first page has, say, 10 links to that page, then you probably want to have 10 links to that page also. That is a heavily simplified version of it, and that is what we call a link gap analysis. However, that doesn't take into consideration the overall root domain authority, meaning that, yeah, maybe that page itself has 10 links, but the actual website itself overall has 1,000 links, Well, that is significantly more competitive than just the 10 links to that page. So what you want to do to start off with is a link gap analysis. You want to throw these competitors into a tool like Ahrefs, look at the backlink profile and look at how many links they have that are do follow, that are DR30 plus, and you want to break them down by DR strength. So DR30 to 40, DR40 to 50, DR50 to 60, and DR60 plus. How many links they have in each of those different strength categories, and then compare that to your own website, and then that is what you need to compete against. So maybe you're going to find that overall you need to build 17 links, and between that maybe 7 of them are DR30 plus, and so on. You can get that full breakdown there. So that's how many links you need to build and what the metrics, aka strength of those links need to be. That makes your strategy extremely easy. Now, in terms of how many links you need to build each month, you basically just map that into a strategy. So overall, you need to build 17 links. Do you want to build them all in 1 month? Very unlikely, because it's just unnatural to, again, suddenly acquire that many links. So what do? Well, you focus on building maybe 1 to 3 every single month if it's only 17 links, or maybe you want to do 5 a month or 6 a month, whatever. You determine, here's how many links I need, here's my time frame I'm setting for myself to get those links, and you basically build those links out consistently over, say, a 6 to 12 month time period, possibly longer if it's a big website. And that's it. The main thing here is consistency. Don't build 10 links this month and then 0 next month. Build a consistent amount every single month to get to that end goal. That doesn't need to be exactly 5 links every single month. It could be 3 links this month and 5 the next month and 7 the next month, whatever, but stay within a consistent sort of range. Don't go from like 10 to 0, because that is a massive indicator that you're artificially building links rather than just naturally acquiring them through creating great content and promoting that content. Now, as mentioned before, where do you want to point these links to? In most cases, links will go to the homepage because it's just natural. Most websites, if you look them up, will have most of their links to the homepage, but you also want to build links to the specific page that you intend on ranking. And again, the easiest way of doing this is a modified version of that link gap analysis. Look up the specific page that you intend on ranking and then see how many links they have to that specific page. If they have on average 10 links to that specific page, you probably want to acquire 10 links to that specific page. But then the rest of the links, well, what if you need more links than that to rank? Well, you build them to the homepage and you build them to other pages, and you have internal links from those pages to your page that you want to rank. For example, if you're an online store and you want to rank your gaming chairs page, but you already hit the limit of 10 links to that because that's what your competitors have on the higher end, well, how do you build more links there? Well, you build them to informational content or other categories on your page. So you have informational content about how to buy a gaming chair and best gaming chairs and gaming chair information and whatever like that. And then within that, you have internal links that point to the gaming chairs category page on your store. And then you build links to that content instead, and that passes a lot of benefit of the link through to that category page for gaming chairs. Now, which types of links should you be building? For most people, I would keep this very, very simple. You obviously want to have social profiles. That's just like given. Like every real business has like a Facebook page and a Twitter and stuff like that. Again, it depends on industry to industry. Maybe it's very normal in your industry to have a Pinterest profile, but in other industries, like for me, like for SEO, like why would I have a Pinterest profile for SEO? So just copy what is natural within your industry, but have your social profiles. If you're doing local SEO, you probably want to have citations. Citations are a reference of your name, address, and phone number. Now, I don't suggest going out there and building like 200 of these. Some people build like 50 a month. It's very, very spammy. Instead, focus on what are the best business directories relevant to your niche and your location or country, and then build like 30 to 50 of them. That is enough. Now, I'd suggest taking this even further and don't even doing this whatsoever and just go and pay in a service like SEO Butler, who will do this for you for a very insignificant fee of something in the region of like $1 per citation. It's not much whatsoever. Beyond that, I keep it very simple. Guest posts and or link insertions. And that is pretty much it in terms of links. You can build blog comments if you want. You can do a press release if you want. But from an SEO perspective, I don't think it's worth it. They're just low quality links. I want to focus on decent quality links, which is where guest posts come into play because it's a real quality link. You're writing 1,000 words of content for another blog and including a link within that, so it's also highly relevant. Or a link insertion is the same idea. It's 1,000 words of content, a really good piece of content, and then you just include a link within that already rather than having to write that content yourself. It's the same idea. So I'm going to focus almost exclusively on those two types of links, and they're real natural links. So if you will see that, it's a real guest post. It's not like a PBN where you create your own website. It looks junk, it looks artificial, it just doesn't look quality. So I'm going to focus on those outreach links, which are going to be guest posts and link insertions, and it keeps it very, very simple then. And then when it comes to anchor text, which is the text again of the link, you want to determine this based on your top ranking competitors. For example, if your competitor on average has, say, 2% of the time they have a keyword optimized anchor text, then you want to have 2% of the time a keyword optimized anchor text. If 15% of the time it has the brand name in the anchor text, then 50% of the time you want to have the brand name in your anchor text. Essentially, look up 2 to 3 competitors, figure out what the average ratios they have, broken down by branded anchor text, keyword optimized anchor text, URL anchor text, miscellaneous anchor text, and possibly others if you want to go into them, like partial match anchor text or long tail anchor text or anything like that, depending on what you're looking at for that specific competitor. Again, look up my link gap analysis video where I explain how to do this properly. And honestly, that's all there is to it. It's actually quite simple once you kind of get down all the different elements of this. To make this much simpler, again, go watch my link gap analysis video, and that's all you do. You do a link gap analysis of your top 3 ranking competitors, and then you match everything they are doing. So you match how many links go to this page versus other page. You match what is the anchor text ratios of those links, and you match what are the metrics of those links. And you look at that and say, okay, based on this, I'm going to do this over a 6-month period. So that means I'm going to build 5 links every single month. And here's exactly how we're going to do that, because I already have everything based on what the competitors are doing. It's very, very simple. And then essentially, you just go out there and you buy or build those links. So you can just go onto my site, buy a guest post, you can buy 5 guest posts, and it's really easy because we just ask you, okay, what is the target URL, as in which page you want it to link to, and what is the anchor text of that link. Again, you calculate this using the link gap analysis, and then you just tell us, okay, for this one, include the brand name. So this brand name is this. You just tell us this, and we include it in the link. For the other one, you want to have the keyword there. So just give us the keyword to include as the anchor text, and so on, based on what your competitors are doing. Link building has become extremely simple because you can buy quality links like guest posts, and you can use a link gap analysis, which people just didn't do before. So you can use a link gap analysis to determine your full strategy. So it's no longer guessing, you're not just building some random links. You look at exactly, here's what my competitors are doing, and then you copy that. So here's what I suggest doing next. Go over to my link gap analysis video, watch that to fully understand how to put together your strategy. I also give you some real examples of doing this for real other businesses in that video. And that's going to give you the full strategy, and then you can really easily build and acquire links because you have a proper strategy for that. And aside from that, if you like this video, do me a favor and smash the like button below so I know you like this type of content and so YouTube recommend it to more people. And aside from that, I'll see you in the next video.